Okay, hello. Welcome to, episode 0 of a new series I'm going to be starting. I don't quite have a name for it right now because I don't want to just rip people off. So I'll go over why this is episode 0 and some other things. So, first things first, I got my inspiration for this series from, a legendary guy. You can go check out the description if you want to know, because I'm not going to explain every single detail of how I found this concept and how I'm going over it now. But second, it's episode 0 because we're gonna go over stuff that we're not gonna keep. So versions before either saving was introduced or before versions that are versions I don't want to start in. That was so hard to explain. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be what we're going to be doing for episode 0 is just, going over things that I'm not going to be able to keep, but still the things that are, notable. So, for this version, in Dev 031, 2100, 125, I don't know if I butchered that or not, but, it's, a lot of things don't exist right now. I mean, the world generation is very basic. There's not many blocks in the game. This is the only mob. I believe it's called Rana or Lana. One of the two. I don't know if you can kill it or not. Can you kill it? I don't know. But yeah, there's no sound. My skin won't register. You don't have a player model at all. This is what the imagery looked like at the time. The world is limited. I think the further you go out, the further you swim out, the more you'll start to get pushed back towards, this main island. And, but the main, selling point of me starting on this version was that, there's a mossy cobblestone box that you spawn in, and inside these chests is every item currently in the game, stacked to 99, which was, the stacking limit of this version. So, some notable things is bedrock, leaves before shears, sponge before ocean monuments, bricks before, clay, and stuff like that. So, you also have coal ore before silk touch, grass before silk touch, a lot of TNT. These are the only tools in the game right now, from what I know. You might have gold tools, I don't know. But also another thing about this version is there is different wool types that, aren't in this version, that aren't in the game anymore. So, I think this is the one. These three colors, I'm 90%, or maybe it's this one. I'm 90% sure 3 of these aren't in the game anymore. But they are in this version, so, that's fun. And that's about it, really. But there's also another feature of this that we can go over, which I'll go over in the next clip, obviously. So, the feature I want to go over is not just, whatever they're called. I don't remember the name. And all these different wool colors that aren't in the game, and, the debug chests. But that's the generation, so if I click on generate new level, you have different types of generation you can select. So you can, floating, flat, inland, and you have island, which is the one that we're on. Shape, square, long, deep, size, huge, small, normal, and the theme is either normal or hell. And hell, hell is very interesting, so I'm gonna go over that one. I also find floating to be the most, interesting of the generations for, the type, and the shape doesn't really matter. They're not really that important. And size, we'll just go with normal because, And then when I click create new world, it'll, take my choices into account and generate a world based on what I chose. And this is oddly scary. So obviously, floating islands. We chose floating. There is a sizable lava pit down there. And just, it says in the name, it's hell. There isn't really much more to cover in this version, so we'll probably go to the next one right after, but I just thought, I'd give it a go because it's so interesting to me, the fact that this could have been, something we could do in Minecraft today if they didn't remove it. Just generate pools of lava and floating islands. I think it would be really cool, honestly. There's probably mods out there that do it, but, you know, like, this is just vanilla Minecraft. It's still really interesting that this was once a feature. I wonder. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's about it for this version. Okay, so now we're in InfDev, and the big, you know, selling point of this version is that, obviously, it says in the name, it's infinite development, so, you know, you have essentially infinite terrain. Well, it's not infinite, you have the farlands at the end, but it goes on for a long time. In this version, well, in some of these versions, spawners were just, you know, mineable. You could just pick them up with any kind of pickaxe. I have my skin now, which is nice. There's still no sounds playing, but, you know, also it's very laggy for some reason. But now you can see, obviously, that it's not just an island anymore. We have infinite terrain. And the terrain has obviously, you know, changed a lot since, in dev. Early in dev, I should say. We have sheep now. I still don't know the name of it. But, yeah, we could play in this version, technically, because I'm sure you can probably get the world to carry over to modern Minecraft, but there's really no point. When we do start episode 1, you'll see why I chose to start quite late in Minecraft's development for, well, why I didn't start this early, you'll find out. But, yeah, there's not much else to cover in this version, really. Apart from infinite terrain generation, there really wasn't much. I don't understand why I'm lagging so much. Have I got any... I have graphics on fancy, that might be something. But my FPS is fine, it just looks very laggy to me. Anyway. That's actually a nice screenshot, to be honest. I don't think you can screenshot in this version, though, so... But yeah, that's about it, really. There's not much else to cover. So, we'll move on to the next version, then. So, now we're in Minecraft Alpha. Early Alpha. We're in, Alpha 1.0.4, I think. I probably shouldn't have gone on this world, but yeah, this is the world, obviously. Will we find chunk errors? I don't know. We might do. Depends on if they change generation. I don't think they did, though. From what I remember, anyway. But, in this version, well, not just this version specifically, anything before this version, and I think Alpha 1.0.5 as well, I need to keep generating worlds, because we need a snow world. Biomes didn't exist at this time, but you had... I think it was a 1 in 3 chance of getting a world that was just snowing forever. Well, until biomes changed. If you loaded the world in that, then it probably wouldn't snow forever. But I'm gonna keep generating worlds until I find one with snow. Might take a bit. Oh, there we go. We found one. So, in this version, snowballs would stack to 64. This isn't just exclusive to this version. There are multiple methods to get, you know, snowballs stacked to 64, and even over sometimes in some cases. But it's still interesting that they just stacked to 64 normally. There are a couple examples of this, and we'll get to them later on in this series, but so I'll just demonstrate it here. My sounds still aren't working. I wonder why. But anyway, I think I only need 2 actually. Obviously you can't drag. You can't drag items. There's a lot of things you still can't do in this version. You can't place crafting tables down when there's snow there, apparently. That's interesting. But if I just make a shovel or 2, and I start picking up snowballs, oh yeah, you can pick up snowballs in this version. I'll have to switch to Alpha 1.0.5 then. So we're back on Alpha 1.0.5, and I now should be able to pick up yeah, okay. So we can pick up snowballs now, which is good, and I can show you that just picking up snowballs, you can get, you know, over the normal stacking of 16. Past this version, you could keep these, obviously, but they wouldn't, you know, you couldn't just stack them to it again. If you unstacked them, that was it, they were gone. They wouldn't stack back together. Also, my skin is gone. That's weird. But obviously we also have, For some reason, you can pick up with you can pick them up with your fist in this version as well, which is something I forgot about. There's a lot of things that you just forget when you go through so many versions in a couple of months just to experience all these things, and now I'm putting together a series on it, and I have zero experience with this, so we'll see how that goes. But there you go, we have a stack of snowballs. You can still throw them, which is nice. Also, this terrain is quite good. I like this. But that's about it for this version, I think. There really wasn't much to cover. It was just these. That's a really nice leg. You don't get generation like this anymore. Well, you rarely get it, but I kind of miss it. It's really nice just having massive mountains and floating islands and stuff. Also, the massive caves. I'm gonna miss those as well. But that's about it. We'll move on to the next version now. Okay, so now we're in beta 1.2. There's two things I should go over in this version. One can just happen, well, one you can do throughout most of beta. And I'm going to delete these worlds because I don't need them. But, and the other one you can do up until this version, which is really odd because the other ones you can do all the way up to beta 1.9. So, what we're going to go over is half doors and levers on top of chests. Levers? Levers? You can pronounce it however you want. And my skin's gone again. Also, the sounds aren't working, so that's something. But I need a chest, a lever, and a cactus, and a door. There's a cactus there, so that's one of the things we need. But the thing about betas, there's a lot to do in here. Not as much as some versions, but beta really has a lot of bugs that we can go over and exploit. It also has the version we're going to be starting in, beta 1.6 test build 3, next episode, so we're just gonna obviously, do what we need to do in this version. So the first thing I should do quickly is half doors. So taking a door and placing it next to a cactus breaks both the cactus and the door and leaves this half door. You can't use it. There's nothing you can do with it. Oh, I have my sound off for some reason. That's probably why we don't have sound. I am very dumb. But yeah, you can't do anything with it. If you place something next to it, it'll break, and I've just duplicated the door. There is a lot of duplication glitches in beta from what I remember. This is just one of them. If you need infinite doors, then here you go. This is a way to do it. And the second one we need some stone for, so I might as well make a pickaxe. But while we're doing this, I'll just go over some other things about this. So, most of the stuff in this is very specific, and I obviously have a list of stuff that I want to do written up, but I'll leave my sources for these things in the description if you want to, do this yourself. I do recommend doing it yourself, though. It's really, it's an experience, going back to old versions of Minecraft and just playing it while also collecting all these weird and wacky items. It's really something that you should do, in my opinion. But, so, here we have a chest, and I need any sort of transparent block. Do I have a transparent block? No, I don't. I need some glass. I don't think I can even use charcoal in this version, can I? Or maybe it does exist. I'll have to check. But yeah, I do highly recommend you try this out. Even if you don't go as far as I'm hopefully going to go, then you should still have fun doing it. Even if you only try a few of the things out, it's still really, interesting and something that honestly is really fun, in my opinion. So let's see if charcoal exists. It does. I don't know why I used that then, because I can also smelt with wood. So that was a waste of time. But just some more general facts about beta while we're waiting for that to smelt. You don't need shears. You can just go and punch sheep and it'll drop wool. That's something about this version that was always kind of confusing. But, we're ready, I think, now to, you know, pull this off. I don't have a lever. I need to get another piece of stone. There's a lot of setup for this, surprisingly. And obviously there's no creative right now, so I can't just go into creative to show you. So, obviously I have to grind all this stuff out, but it's not, you know, it's not challenging. It's just a bit of time. And it's time that I get to talk about things, so that's a win-win. But if you have a piece of glass, obviously you can place levers down, and they are very weird in this version. They look like this when you place them on top of chests. I don't know if they look like that normally. You can try it though. No, they do not. So only when you place them on top of chests does it look like that. And I can go over why it lets you do this. You can do other things like torches and stuff as well, but chests in beta are full blocks, so you know. Also, for some reason, it just rotated. Can I do that again? I can. So, you know, we got a rotating chest as well. Chests are full blocks in beta, which you can see if I place a block next to it. You know, like normally you'd have sort of a pixel off, but in this they're full blocks. You can't just place things directly because obviously you go into the chest interface, but by using a non-solid block like glass or glowstone, you can place things on the top, on the sides, and we will be doing that in this series. Just not in this version, because the only thing we really had to show in this was levers. But that's about it, I think, for this version, you know. So we'll probably just move on now to the next version. So now we're in the last version that we're going to be looking at today. It's the last version before beta 1.6 test build 3 that has anything, you know, notable. And it's beta 1.5_01. You could also use O2 if you have that. I don't know if that's a version that exists, but this is overstacked fishing rods. We'll get to that in a second, but it's gonna take me a bit to you know, it's gonna take me a bit to actually gather the materials to make this, so I'll cut, and when I have the stuff to make this, I'll, you know, come back. So for you it'll be a few seconds, but for me it'll be however long it takes. So yeah, we'll do that. Oh! Okay. Welcome back. For you, it was only a few seconds, maybe. For me, it was 25 minutes, but we have what we need. So, in this version, and versions before it, you could overstack fishing rods. And what I mean by that is, unlike normal things where you craft them, you can't stack them. With these, you can just stack them by crafting them. And also in the inventory. This was removed after this version, but it's not exclusive, again. There is more methods, there are more methods, I should say, to get these. But this is probably one of the easiest. It just takes a lot of spider killing. And, yeah, they share the same durability. If one of them goes to a different one, I don't think I shouldn't be able to stack them, but you never know. We'll find out. Also, these old fishing noises are quite cool. I love the... but yeah, that about wraps up this episode. It's probably shorter than what I'm gonna do for most episodes, depending on especially what the subject of it is. But, yeah, so, yeah, they can still stack, and then they lose the durability. That's incredibly weird. I see why they don't stack anymore. But yeah, that'll be, I can't go into first person, plus it's a Steve skin. But that'll be it for the first episode of, I still don't know what to call this series. I don't want to just, you know, completely rip the name from the original creator of this series, Puffingfish. So, I'll work on the name, but for now, that should be it. I hope people enjoy this, because I know I'm going to enjoy it. I've done this a couple times already, but it's been kind of boring, so I've just rushed through it. So I think I'm going to, you know, take my time and just enjoy it more than anything else. But, with that being said, this is the end of episode 0, so I'll see you later.